Payne County, Oklahoma, we are so glad that you have joined us for another episode of Pastors of Payne. I'm Father Brian O'Brien, joined by my podcasting partner, co-host, fellow pastor, Father Kerry Wakulich.
Thank you. I'm here.
Welcome, one and all.
You know, there's a little different spirit when we record this in the living room of
In the
St.
house,
Joseph
as opposed to the
St. Joseph Terror of Demons Rectory.
He's looking down on us.
Yeah.
St. Joseph, pray for us.
I just started like Dance Dance Revolution when I heard that intro. It was like, and I felt like I could get up and
Little red dirt,
cut a rug.
red dirt country. Thought I was at the Tumbleweed.
Oh boy,
I've actually never been to the Tumbleweed.
You never been to the Tumbleweed?
I'm sorry, I haven't.
No.
I've driven by.
Big black X's on their hands when you're under 21.
Oh,
I see them.
I'm over 21.
I see them at Sunday at Mass. I was like, Tumbleweed. And they're like, I tried to get it off. They're like, let's scrub it off their hands. Oh, yes.
Oh, dear. Father Kerry,
Sir.
it's September in Payne County. Football season.
I was thinking of the Rob Stewart song.
Lots
late
of
September.
Lots of people at Mass. We just kicked off our RCIA, which we're called Becoming Catholic.
Catholicism 101.
We've kicked off Xavier Kids on Sunday mornings.
We kicked off.
You don't have Xavier Kids. We have Xavier Teens, Life Teen and Edge on Sunday nights.
Oh, yeah.
And then this year, we're kind of going all in on Wednesdays as well. So we've got a little 4th and 5th grade Bible study. We've got a high school Bible study. We've got our Spanish adult formation on Wednesday nights. We got a bunch of Spanish speakers. A lot of folks who maybe like came from Mexico or El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, name all the Spanish speaking countries. And
Panama.
And they were at Panama, for example. But like a lot of them were never received the sacrament of confirmation. And so, now they're adults, and so we're trying to kind of catch everybody up and then do some really good formation. And then I think we're either going to do Spanish confirmations either on the Christ the King Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Late November, or we actually might do it at the Our Lady of Guadalupe Mass.
The confirmations?
Confirmations.
Dude, that would be sweet because it's a witness.
During the celebration of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Be anointed with the Holy Spirit.
So we're working on that. Anyway, it's just good. This is the time of year where things, now, like for us here in the house, all summer we kind of, there's always late nights, but at 8, 9 o'clock, we're all sort of home and we sit around and catch up on the day. Well, now the nights are a little bit later, just because there's so much stuff. It's good though. It's real good. What I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about.
Whoa!
What?
You paused.
I'm thinking of like how best to express it.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to talk about famous Catholics.
Oof. Like Pope Pius X.
So you may have seen.
Well, about
like John Paul II. My favorite stat about John Paul II, may I tell you, is that I don't think they can like prove this, but he was seen in person by more people than anyone in the history of the world.
What? Like live?
Seen live.
Yeah, you go to Philippines.
He went to like 146 countries or something.
Shoot, dog.
Yeah.
Famous Catholics or just famous people that became...
So a couple weeks ago.
Well, also, who was the famous movie star, the Duke, the Dutch? What's his name? John Wayne. Yeah, like when John Wayne and Bob Hope both had Catholic funerals, I was like, hello.
I think John Wayne like has a grandson who's a priest or something like that.
Yeah.
He like converted on his deathbed.
Other famous Catholics was Tecumseh Sherman's son was a priest. That's why Tecumseh Sherman didn't burn any churches in the South, because his son was a Jesuit priest.
Really?
Tecumseh Sherman was never a Catholic.
Oh, so he's not a famous Catholic.
So his son is.
Okay.
What about Leo the Great? Famous Catholic?
He was famous. Really, all the popes. All 200 and what are we on? 256?
Yeah. Which pope name would you take if you were an elected pope, by the way?
Damien.
Damien
the First.
I would take Cletus, because then we could convert Arkansas. They're like, my cousin's Cletus. Hey, Cletus, get in here. You're pope. It would be awesome.
That's awesome.
Let me take a sip of this coffee real quick. It's really hot.
So a couple weeks ago, there was an interview that made its way around the at least the Catholic Twitter sphere. Bishop Robert Barron, who's now the new bishop of the Diocese of Winona, Rochester, Minnesota, southeast Minnesota, he interviewed a famous actor who recently converted to Catholicism. Who is that actor? Shia LaBeouf. Now, if you asked me to name a movie that Shia LaBeouf was in, I think I would say something related to the Transformers.
Okay.
And that's it. So I know his face because he's kind of one of those people you see, on talk shows or showing up at sporting events or whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna.
So I don't really know. I don't know the guy. I don't know a lot about him. I know he's like a Hollywood star. Well, there's a movie coming out about Saint Padre Pio.
Okay.
Whose official name is Saint Pio of Pietrelcina, but nobody calls him that. It's like Mother Teresa. Nobody calls her Saint Teresa of Calcutta. She's Mother Teresa. So Padre Pio was a Franciscan. Was it Capuchin? I don't know. Anyway, Franciscan priest.
Yep.
Very famous, very holy. Famous for his as a confessor. He had the stigmata. The wounds of Christ. So he's kind of a beloved figure, especially in Italy, but really all over the world. So they made a movie about him. Well, Shia LaBeouf is playing Padre Pio. So I guess for the role, he has to, sort of encapsulate himself in Catholicism. Well, anyway, he starts going to Mass, and he starts going specifically to the traditional Latin Mass, and he has a conversion. And so he's now a Catholic.
I've never seen any of the movies. While you were talking, I was looking up all these movies.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him. I mean, I've never seen any of the Transformer movies.
Oh, he was in Fury. I did see him in Fury, which was about a tank in World War II.
Oh.
And
I played with Transformers as a child, but I've never seen any of the movies.
I know, they're kind of weird.
Anyway, I don't know the guy. I don't know. I actually haven't even watched the Bishop Barron interview, even though lots of people have sent it to me. I just haven't had the capacity to. It's like an hour and a half or 2 hours long. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
so
but
my
it's got me thinking. Go ahead. Sorry.
So my buddy brother Jude,
who
lives in Denver, helped him become Catholic.
Oh,
he's the brother Jude in the talk, and so I trust brother Jude that he
that it's sincere.
That's sincere.
I mean, and people these days, people don't convert to Catholicism like for the money.
You get ousted out of Hollywood.
Yeah. It's usually not a strong career move for you.
Yeah, because as we talked about a couple weeks ago, it's two different gospels: the gospel of the Hollywood and the movie industry, and the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
The two.
Yeah, they are at.
They have two different lenses of seeing the world.
Two different ends.
Yep. Okay, so what do you want to talk about then?
I'm just intrigued. People, and I'm talking about Catholics, people get so excited like when a famous person either becomes Catholic or like says anything like faith related. And I think it's an overreaction.
I would agree. I used to love.
Oh, I thought our whole show was going to be disagreeing.
No, I used
That's
to
what
love
makes
Stephen
for good
Colbert.
Podcasts. Colbert's a good one.
Stephen Colbert and Jim Gaffigan.
Right. So both those guys.
Go ahead.
Funny. I mean, right? They're funny.
You got your foot up on a soapbox.
They're
Go
funny.
ahead.
They're funny. So Colbert, I remember I was in seminary and Colbert had a show on on Comedy Central, I guess it was.
Yeah, exactly.
And he would oftentimes like talk about his Catholicism. And then like there was one episode where somebody asked him like well, what do you believe? And he recited the creed.
Oh, yeah, it was that Satan worshiping priest or something. Like he handed him a business card and he says, if I touch that card, it'll burn my flesh. And then he started reciting the creed.
So in seminary, we were like, oh, that's so awesome. The guy, somebody said the creed on national television. Like everyone's going to become Catholic now. And. Yeah. Well, anyway, so Colbert, it turns out, again, I don't know the guy, but like he's not, a super uber Catholic that like we thought he was.
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan, right? So comes out as being Catholic, and, makes Catholic jokes, and people are like, "Oh, he's so funny, and he's Catholic."
He was at Sikh.
I
Sikh
saw
one
him at
year.
Mass, or he came to Sikh. He performed when Pope Francis came to Philadelphia. And then I don't know what it is. 3 weeks later, like he and his kids are like at a Pride parade, and it's like, oh, like. So we get so excited when like a famous person is Catholic, and then we're just inevitably let down.
Yes.
And so I think it's also true, and I think this is worth talking about, both kind of famous people, but then also even like how attached we can get to kind of certain bishops or priests.
Yeah.
And like our faith is like tied up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do something to like, they turn out to be human.
Yeah, like all of us are.
Right. And then it leads to like disappointment. I thought Jim Gaffigan was going to be like my guy. And he turns out he doesn't believe everything that the church teaches.
Yeah, yeah.
Or this priest was going to be, he's the best. And then he, had like a fall from grace, or he said something uncharitable. Or
it's like Mark Wahlberg. He came out with the movie Father Stu.
Yeah.
And then in previous years, he has said very clearly that he believes in gay marriage.
Oh.
So it's contradictory to not only the catechism, but the sacrament of holy matrimony.
Yeah.
And you're like, Wahlberg, okay, like.
What are you doing?
You either gotta like eat the gospel and drink the gospel and make the gospel part of your very life, or don't.
Well, and then
it's demanding.
And I think there's room for. I mean, we see this in our people all the time. There's room for like, I'm struggling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The church teaches this. I believe this, and I really want to get there. I'm just not there. But I think when you're public, when you're a famous person, it people look at you differently, and they have kind of certain expectations.
Like your mom went out with that guy, Ted Kennedy.
I do have a picture
of your mom and Ted Kennedy
but she was not on a date with Ted Kennedy.
Well, they're next to each other and looked like fun.
There is. I have it on my. If you're listening to this and you would like to see the picture of my mother with future senator and presidential candidate Ted Kennedy, but also in the picture was her boyfriend at the time,
the priest,
who is not the priest. So it's my mom, Ted Kennedy, father somebody, and my mom's boyfriend,
who's not your dad,
who is not my father.
What year was this? So to make everybody not like descandalized real fast.
60-something. I mean, it's a black and white.
And your parents were married in the 50s?
My parents were married in 1968.
Oh, okay. So your mom dumped.
I'll bet this was 60.
Bobby,
this is probably 64, 65.
Well, like him, like it was like, how do you get a Catholic funeral, but all your career as a politician, you've been like doing something contrary to the church's teaching.
Right. So I think it's just kind of a lesson for us. And what the Shia LaBeouf conversion got me thinking, am I glad that Shia LaBeouf is a Catholic? Yeah. Yeah, because I think everybody should be Catholic. But do I want, I don't want, like, because a lot of people were like, oh, and he was converted through like the traditional Latin Mass. And I have no problem with the traditional Latin Mass. But like, and therefore, and there's another reason why everyone should just go to the traditional Latin Mass, because it converts famous people. Like, I was just like, everybody, let's just chill. Let's just let this guy like be a Catholic for a while. I mean, it's one of the reasons like in seminary, we are very cautious of like new converts.
Yep.
When someone's like, you're new, you're excited, you want to share the faith, which is great. But you're kind of not ready. I have a good, Anthony Kaiser, remember him? He used to work for the Diocese of Tulsa. Now he works for Wichita. So Anthony goes on, every time there's like a famous conversion, Anthony goes on a little Facebook rant, which I love because he's really funny and articulate. And he just basically says like, okay, any new Catholics, new famous Catholics are not allowed to like speak publicly for 5 years. Like do not invite Shia LaBeouf to like your middle school youth conference.
Yeah, because he's going to say something heretical.
Just let the guy let him live, right? Let him be in the faith. Let's not put all this pressure on a new Catholic to suddenly be the most articulate Catholic simply because he's articulate, he's a really good actor, right? Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
I admire him for his skill in that area, in the area of
Indiana
of
Jones.
the arts, right? That's cool. That's awesome. But that doesn't then mean he's going to be like a brilliant Catholic.
Speaker or
So you see this in
theologian.
a lot of athletes. Mark Wahlberg, Jim Gaffigan. Where was that list?
It's over
I
here.
printed out a list of
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, right? Yeah, so that's a good one, right? Simone Biles, she's in the Olympics and is like, an unbelievable athlete. Like, I admire the heck out of her hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Like, unbelievable. She's overcome like a whole bunch. Well, then, it was like right after the Olympics. And then like on Instagram, she's like throws down how she's like super pro-choice. And I'm like, but meanwhile, 2 weeks before, there were all these articles about
how Catholic she is.
Right. And it's like, and so we just set I think when we put our faith in like a famous Catholic, I think we're going to be disappointed.
Yeah,
It's a cautionary tale.
I go back to those comedians like Stephen Colbert and Jim Gaffigan, who I used to laugh at, and then I realized,
and they're funny. They are funny.
Wait, this is satire. What was it? Is it? I almost said Plato. Was it The Republic where he says like, what was it? It's the line like, actors are not allowed to be citizens of any city because they're professional liars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it was Plato's Republic.
Yeah, they are good at playing a role.
Yeah, and so how convincing are you that they actually want to participate in your city-state, and they're not there just to make money by their hootenannies? I've used hootenanny.
You like that? You like that word? So can we make a parallel then to priests and bishops that people really like?
Yeah. What was that black sheep wolf dog guy?
John Karapi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, there's a priest. For a little background, there was a priest. He was a SALT priest, the Society of Our SOLT, Society of Our Lady of the Society of Our Lady of the Trinity. Right?
Yeah.
And he was famous. I mean, he was speaking at conferences all over the country. He had a really famous conversion story because he was like a
multi-millionaire
cocaine addict and all kinds of stuff, and then had this major conversion, became a priest, and was like an outstanding teacher. His like videos on the catechism
are still excellent,
and they're still around.
Yeah. They're brilliant.
Well, my mom loved Father Karapi, loved it. Well, anyway, I don't know when it was. It was 2008, 2009. I don't know. He like went off the deep end.
Yeah.
Or he got his bishop tried to move him, and he said no. And
yeah, exactly.
I don't know what happened to the guy, but like all these people who were like, my faith has been so built up by
this dude,
Father Karapi, and now he's gone. And so now what do I do? And this sort of despair sets in. Now, obviously, we can be sad. We ought to be sad anytime a priest breaks his vows and goes in a different direction. But when someone is like that famous, it just sets the rest of us up. Or whenever you have like that really strong connection. So I want to like bring it to Payne County. Like, we both came in new at a certain point, replacing someone else. Bishops, we just 6 years ago we had a bishop change, and it's going to happen again. And I'm not like previewing anything. Like I have no insider knowledge. But like at some point, right? You're leaving.
I am.
Yeah. One, you might die, and then you're definitely leaving. Or like you're going to get moved, right? Same thing. I'm going to die at some point, or I'm going to get moved. One of those things is going to happen. And so what we don't want is anyone, where like faith is connected. We want people to obviously connect with your priest, connect with your bishop, connect with some famous person that you can like admire them. But like when your faith and like another person who is not Jesus Christ, when that all gets intertwined, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
I have a really excellent example. When I lived in Denver,
Yeah.
we had this awesome Archbishop
He's coming to Tulsa.
Chaput.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
When's he coming?
He's doing some Alcuin Institute talk.
Is that the award ceremony thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go to that.
Yeah, I can't go either.
Hey.
He's so awesome, and he's coming 1 hour away from me. I can't go.
Yeah, Archbishop Chaput, an amazing bishop and leader and shepherd of the church. And dudes flooded to Denver to go to seminary. And so there was this sort of cult around him that people built up, and guys came there from all over the place, and religious orders came there, and organizations came there because of Archbishop Chaput. And then he got moved to Philadelphia.
Dang.
And people like, when the new Archbishop Aquila shows up from, I think, Fargo or Sioux Falls, one of the two, and becomes the bishop of the diocese he grew up in, there was a little like, you're not Archbishop Chaput.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they are different people, like totally different people.
But you have this thing, this whole thing built up. Yeah, so it's and I would say this too, like I know there's people, like I don't want to speak for you, I'll speak for myself. I know that there are parishioners here that don't like me, but like that disagree with certain decisions we've made. I'm sure it happens to you.
Nope. They leave every 4 years. I have no idea who it is, dude. Oh yeah.
And so like I feel like there are parishioners that like I feel like I'm in, like with them I'm in sort of like a perpetual state of disappointment. Like no matter what we're doing, it's like not enough, or it's just going to fall short of their like expectations, and like a part of that is just, I mean, that's a part of what we do. It's a part of like being in leadership. You know, you're kind of inevitably gonna fall short. One, I have many flaws. One, I don't always make the best decisions. I fall short in all kinds of different ways, and so kind of living with that. And I know that like when a pastor is not what you want them to be, either in their prayer life or some decision, like it's disappointing, or like what I want is not what I'm getting, and I think it's a part of the tension of like living on the earth that inevitably, I mean, you look at the scriptures, right, and Moses. Right? Moses fell short. The people grumbled in the desert. David fell short in all kinds of ways. Peter, I mean, the number of sort of what we would consider now sort of great leaders.
Yeah.
And we're human as human can be. It's part of like being in the church. And so but ultimately I would say when we put our faith in another human, we're gonna end up disappointed.
Wasn't there a gospel
Even
about
Shia
that?
LaBeouf.
Wasn't there a gospel about that recently? I think it was a couple Sundays ago, maybe the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time, where it's like, something about your treasures. Oh, I'm trying to remember back to that gospel. It was like if you put all your Jesus says you should hate your mother, father, family.
You cannot
homeland.
serve God and mammon.
Yeah. It's like you're not supposed to hate them because then you would violate the fourth commandment. But you have to literally like treat them with sort of a distance, like give all those things up. I think I do like to see converts like this. People who in
bring
this
on
culture,
the converts. Let's go
in this culture to see converts, because as we've heard, and as we've talked about over and over again throughout this podcast, is that if you want to be Catholic, like you really have to do it. You have to go all in. You can't like compartmentalize your stuff. Like, because then people will like, well, you're stinking wishy-washy. What was that line from Paul VI? Our culture doesn't respect teachers unless they're witnesses. And doesn't, something along those lines. Like, you got to be a witness, not just a teacher, but they will respect teachers once they're witnesses. I think it was Paul VI. this is these people who are becoming Catholic or getting baptized and entering the church. We look at them and we say, okay, like they are a model of Christian life for me. They also, and I think you said this well, they haven't had the opportunity to allow the gospel to really start eroding things. We've had the opportunity 46 years of being Catholic to grow in our faith life, and we're still
and I still stink at it.
I know, like
that's where like I've had all these years. Shia LaBeouf has had 3 months, and like let's not put anybody on a pedestal, especially a famous person with all the. I mean, I've never been a famous person, but like the temptations that I'm sure come with being a movie star or a big time athlete, just money, sex, drugs. Hey, do what we want you to do. Live, in the world. I mean, I admire anybody who can do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want us to I want us to be excited for this young man that he now is like in the fullness of the truth and is in the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church and receiving the sacraments. And I just don't want to put all this like pressure on him to now suddenly dictate people's faith or, I want to be, Shia LaBeouf's a Catholic? Oh, maybe I think I want to be a Catholic too. Well, why don't we do it for the Lord,
Right. They are these witnesses. Like, was it Mark Wahlberg who did the thing for Pope Francis when he came to the United States? Was that Mark Wahlberg? And the kid said to Mark Wahlberg, like live, that his favorite movie was that one about that teddy bear. And like you could see Mark Wahlberg like, oh no.
Yeah. Well,
if you're a 12-year-old kid and you watch that movie, then I have done something really bad. Yeah.
Well, and then like even with Shia LaBeouf, like there were sort of criticisms of like, why are we giving this guy such a stage? Like look at his past. Now other people have said, well, he's trying to acknowledge his past and like gain like ask for forgiveness for sins of his past. But other people are like, you're going to hold this guy up? Look at all the bad he's done. Look at the movies that he's been in, or look at his like personal relationships. Stop putting this guy on a pedestal. But then you look at, some of the great. We just celebrated the feast of St. Augustine. So you look at St. Paul. So many of the great saints who were notorious sinners.
Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She's a great saint. What are you trying to say about her?
I don't know if I want to say that she never sinned, but I'm sure she did.
Teresa of Lisieux? Come on.
They didn't have dramatic conversion stories, but many people did. And maybe Shia LaBeouf becomes a saint. Maybe he replaces Saint Genesius as this patron saint of actors. And I hope he does. But man, you know what, everyone? The guy's been a Catholic for like a few months. And so let's just leave him alone.
Give him a break.
Let's leave him alone. And I'm sure that interview was really interesting. It kind of struck people on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for that. And now let's leave him alone. And let's let him like go to mass just like a normal person and go to confession and live the life. And then let's see what happens. And then in 5 years you can invite him to your middle school youth event in your parish gym.
That's where middle school dances are.
Yes, you can invite him to chaperone your middle school dance. I'm sure he can DJ. I'm sure it'll be awesome. All right, we're gonna get out of here.
Chaperone. Oh, could you guys leave some room for the Holy Spirit over here?
You guys want some punch?
Oh wow!
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We hope you're having a great September. Come see us. Come visit us if you're not from Payne County. Come visit our churches. We'd love to see you, and we hope that you have a wonderful day.
Peace.